Hi, my name is Shaylee Fawcett, and this is my Book of Mormon project for Brother Hilton's class for fall 2014. And for my Book of Mormon project, I decided to interview different girls in my hall and people in my classes to find out how people got their testimony of the Book of Mormon. And for me, it really helps me to listen to other people's stories and to understand the process that they went through, because that helps me strengthen my own testimony of the Book of Mormon. So I hope you enjoy watching all these different segments and hope that you gain a lot from it.
I didn't actually have one set experience that made me suddenly know that the Book of Mormon was true. I guess just when I was younger, I wanted to read it for myself. And so when I got my scriptures, at my baptism, I wanted to read the Book of Mormon myself, and I did, and I've just kept reading it over and over again. And reading the words, I know that they're true. I've read them so many times, but every time it's something new and something that applies to my life, and I know that that's God giving me directions through them, so I know that they're true.
So I got my testimony of the Book of Mormon probably, as I was growing up, I read it a lot. I think I read it at least 4 times by the time I graduated, maybe, for personal progress projects and in seminary and stuff like that. And then there was one year we had a challenge to read the Book of Mormon from Christmas to Easter, and I didn't really want to do it because I had already read it, but I chose to do the challenge, so I followed the little schedule that they gave on the reading schedule. And since from reading it that quickly, it really made it seem like a story. And I think from doing that, I could see that the climax was whenever Christ came to the Americas and saw the Nephites, and that's kind of what everything was building up to. And then afterwards, it just kind of showed the importance of keeping Christ in your life. So I think that really helped me know that the Book of Mormon was really a testament of Christ. And then also, in the war chapters in Alma, it talks about whenever Moroni gets really mad at Pahoran. So I really like those chapters because they're such real emotions, and I think that helped me to know that the Nephites and Lamanites were real people. And that's how I got my testimony of the Book of Mormon.
Hi, I'm a convert to the church. I've only been a member for 1.5 years, and I knew this church was true when I felt happy every time I attended, and I could always feel, every time I attended church, I just felt so loved, and I knew that Heavenly Father loved me, and I know that He loves all of us, and I know that families can be together forever, and I know that Joseph Smith restored the true gospel, and I know that Thomas S. Monson is a prophet today, and I know that we have prophets today so that they can help us and guide us through our lives and be able to teach us new things. And I love this gospel so much, and I can't imagine my life.
One thing that I really found interesting from interviewing different people and from listening to all these different stories was that everyone gains their testimony in a different way, and there's not a right way to gain your testimony of the Book of Mormon or a certain time or certain place where this has to occur. It can be anywhere, anytime, and I think that's really important to remember, to always keep our hearts and minds open to the Spirit, because you never know when that testimony is going to come to you.
Okay, so I had read the Book of Mormon a few times, and I'd always felt it was kind of important, and certain scriptures always stood out to me, but I didn't have a testimony of the Book of Mormon until my senior year, just last year. At the end of the year, our seminary teacher asked us to pray about it, it says in Moroni, and so we kneeled down to pray, and I was all ready for this burning in the bosom experience. And so I was praying, and I was Lord, I want to know if it's true. And all I got were 3 words, was "you already know." And I was whoa, that's so true. And it wasn't any huge experience, it was just 3 little words, but I guess it's just a building of testimony. So that's how I got my testimony. Okay. I think that when I realized I had a testimony of the Book of Mormon, it was kind of after I had been going through a lot of anxiety and a lot of different things in my life, and it just, the things that I knew were right in my life were the things that brought me peace, and the Book of Mormon was one of those things where I could just sit down and I could read it, and it made me feel better about just the life I was living and the way that things are, and so I just knew that this had to be true if it could always just calm me down and always make me feel better about just everything. And so that's how I knew that this was a true book.
So I first got my testimony of the Book of Mormon when I was about 8th grade, when I loved reading, and I would read 800-page books every single day, like one a week. I was really, really fast at reading, and I had yet to read the Book of Mormon all the way through. And my sister, she came up to me and she kind of got mad at me because I hadn't read through it all the way, and she's like, Sarah, what are you doing? This is not even an 800-page book. This is not even close to the size of like Harry Potter. And she's like, you could go through the Book of Mormon in one day. And I thought about it and I was like, that's true. And so there was one day that it was a Saturday, and then I just went through and I sat down and I was like, I'm going to read this. So I read the entire Book of Mormon in one day, and then after that I read the Book of Mormon. We had a lesson in seminary after it, and so I kind of went through it and promised to myself that I would read the Book of Mormon every single day for a year, and I didn't miss a single day for a year. And after that, it's a really big habit, and I love the Book of Mormon, and it's awesome.
I first got my own testimony of the Book of Mormon in intermediate school when I started reading the Work and the Glory books and just watching the journey of Joseph Smith as he got the plates and as he translated them really gave me a testimony of the Book of Mormon. And then it just grew through reading and praying about the Book of Mormon. And Elder Holland's testimony of the Book of Mormon, where he talks about all the suffering that went through, really strengthened my testimony of it also.
I think I got my testimony of the Book of Mormon just growing up and being in the church, and every week having family home evening with my parents and seeing how much they truly believed in it and wanted us to learn from it so much that when I was 12, I decided that I was going to read a chapter of the Book of Mormon every day. And since then, 6 years, I haven't missed a chapter every day. A lot of times I like to read more and really study and stuff, but no matter what, I think my testimony's just kind of been built from that and from different seminary classes and other people's testimony. But I think just knowing how blessed I've been from reading the scriptures every single day, I think has strengthened my testimony the most.
So I definitely remember gaining my testimony of the Book of Mormon when I was 14 years old, and I attended my first Especially for Youth session here at BYU Provo. And I was reading in our free time out in the lawn of campus, and I just felt the Spirit overcome me, and I knew for sure that this gospel was true and that everything written in the Book of Mormon was true, and it was something that changed my life forever and something I'll always hold really dear and special to me. And I'm really grateful that I was able to gain that testimony in my own way, and because of that experience, it's something that's always really special to me. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate it and hope you learned more about the gospel of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and was able to have your testimony of the Book of Mormon strengthened.